What's up, comicbook.com? BD here at San Diego Comic-Con, joined today. We do this yearly, man, and I'm excited every time. Rob Liefeld is here.
I love it.
Rob, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, BD. I need to start calling you BD. BD, RL, BD.
Oh, is that it now?
That's
RL?
right. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
I like
Let's
that.
do
That's
it.
like an unstoppable tag team
feeling
duo
good.
right there.
I'm feeling good.
So this is an interesting year at Comic-Con. We're back to comics. We're back to the roots, right?
It's only interesting if you're not a comic book person, okay?
Right.
Like, it's a good year. I'm telling you, there's people on the floor. Have you, like,
Yes.
literally, I think it's busier on the floor because there's no Hall H.
Exactly.
Okay,
That's 7,000
right?
people not sitting down.
Last year, I wasn't able, I'm like, this year, I can't turn left. Crap, shuffle, and then I'm out of there. I can't, it's so crowded. It's
It is
so
packed.
crowded.
It's interesting. It's because there's new booths, there's new vendors.
Yes.
The studios aren't here, which means there's just people. I feel like a lot of people are on the floor discovering stuff for the first time.
Let's hope.
Hell yeah.
Discover comic books.
Yes.
Discover what made this place what it is.
Have you noticed an uptick in people coming by, talking about new things with you? Is it a different experience for you as one of the headline creators at Comic-Con?
I'm going to tell you, the table is slammed busy, and everyone I talk to is slammed busy.
So it's the same as every year for you.
Well, okay, but literally, like, it's really. I mean, I think it's doing great for everybody. I mean, look, I'm sorry, like everybody, I go to Hall H. I see you there. I'm sorry that the programming is gone. It certainly is a facet that we've all come to rely on in the last decade. But you know, I've been coming to Comic-Con since 1981. This is my 41st year, and that is with subtracting, you know, the pandemic years. So I just, it was always about comics until about 2008. Okay, so it's been more about comics than movies for me. So it's interesting. I think it's cool.
And of course, we are going to talk a little bit of movies if we can. But first, we are going to talk about comics because you have Deadpool, Batter Blood. 3 is about to come out.
Batter Blood number 2 just came out.
Number 2 just came out.
Yeah,
3 is
doing
on
great.
the way.
I'm so, like, literally, just you don't understand. Being in the business as long as I am, the old guy, and people still are buying the books and picking them up, and it's just like, because we make the books, we put them out, and they're the judge, right?
Yeah.
And if they don't want them, they'll let you know that too. You know, you'll hear about it. So I'm just grateful that people are picking up Batter Blood.
And so this is picking up from the Bad Blood story,
Yes.
and you're building out like a rogues gallery with Deadpool now. So talk to me a little bit about getting to kind of add even more depth to a character that you know are responsible for.
Well, he needs more bad guys. Okay, he needs more, like how has it been 30 years? I mean, I think in 2 years' time, think about Spider-Man got the Lizard, Kraven, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, the Vulture. I mean, it was boom, boom, boom. In 30 years, I'm not sure we can identify a true Deadpool villain. Who's his Sabretooth?
Yeah.
Okay, who's his Joker?
Right.
So I'm just rolling up my sleeves, and like I said, so far, I rolled the dice when I was a kid. I loved Murder World, which is a theme park run by a guy named Arcade, and so I called up Marvel and I said, can I give Arcade a sister who thinks that who makes murderous theme parks that cost billions of dollars? Like, so can we do some virtual reality? Can we apply some 21st century logic here? And they don't like each other. She doesn't like her brother. So we introduced her. It's called Killville instead of Murder World. So yeah, I'm just trying to add, new layers. Shatterstorm is from Shatterstar's world, because I'm finding out how many people don't really know about Shatterstar, but he was raised up in the arenas and the gladiator games in the Mojoverse, and lots of different warriors look like him. This is a female warrior who was in the same caste system and is now here as a bounty hunter. So hey, pick up Batter Blood. I'm digging it. I hope you guys are digging it.
So what does it take as the writer, as the creator on these characters to build a foil to a character like Wade Wilson? Because there aren't characters like Wade in the rest of comics.
I don't know how to answer that other than it just comes so naturally. Like if I'm gonna apply myself, I'm gonna try and build this out, round this out. And like I said, I mean, they were giving him Howard the Duck villains for like a decade. I'm like, why is Dr. Bong in Deadpool? What is going on here? Are we doing Man-Things villains? It's like they're shifting. He deserves his own rogues gallery. And it just comes naturally to me. If I'm going to do a comic, I'm going to give it all. I'm not going to negotiate whether I'm, people do say, why are you creating characters for Marvel? And I'm like, excuse me? That's what I did. That's what I do. I see building out the universes and working in the platform as an advantage, and I always have, and I did as a kid, and I do as an old man. So it just comes naturally.
but Deadpool he's got a lot of pals. He's got some frenemies and
A lot
Cable
of pals. Well, he's got
you know,
pals. He's got pals.
Yeah, and you're working on a few of them in this book too.
The Cable's there. Wolverine's
Yes.
there. What do you know? People like Wolverine and Deadpool.
Could you imagine?
Could you
imagine?
Okay.
Well, that actually, I want to ask this because I'm curious because I notice, especially Marvel Comics, there's often a lot of synergy between what we're going to see in movies and what we get in the comic book store. Sometimes it's months before the movie comes out. Sometimes it's months after. But it's often like, okay, this character's appealing in it's mainstream in the film. Let's get him on the books. Let's get people attracted. I would love to hear about how that synergy kind of comes down to you in a sense. Like, I can't imagine there's a coincidence that people are responding so well to Deadpool and Wolverine in the movies, and now we're getting Deadpool and Wolverine in comics? Or is that just like, okay, this is the book you wanted to tell? Is there any kind of collaboration where you guys have to think about that?
This is the great thing. So early on, I pitted. So Deadpool comes from the same program that created Wolverine. That was part of his origin. That's part of his pitch. That he was before Wolverine. He was like Weapon 9 if Wolverine's Weapon 10, and we addressed that in X-Force 2. 31 years ago in the opening when Garrison Kane is battling Deadpool, and they both identify each other as parts of the program. And Garrison is the next level. He's like Weapon 11. This is all the stuff I worked out with Marvel way back then. So eventually pitted Deadpool against Wolverine. People like it. People love it. Obviously the appearances in the past where Deadpool and Wolverine have battled have just blown up since last fall when they announced they were making this movie, and Hugh and Ryan were getting back together. But this Deadpool Batter Blood was the first 45 pages were drawn in 2017. Marvel can tell you that. So I kind of think that it got fast-tracked as a result of, I had it, I was doing it, and suddenly you got that announcement. What do they have? They already have this done by me, and it's got some advantages there. So Ryan and Hugh make their announcement, and boom, Deadpool Batter Blood is perfect for the schedule. So that it actually turned out to be, in that case, a happy coincidence, because literally Marvel will tell you, no, we've had these pages in our possession since 2017, because I was doing the sequel to Bad Blood immediately. So now it's working out great as we build towards what everyone wants to see, which is next summer's, hopefully, still next summer.
Hopefully. Fingers are crossed. I mean, imagine that. They were together in the comics first, time after time. Huh? Almost hard to believe. Listen, this Deadpool 3 news, though. I mean, this photo, there's news of, like, Jennifer Garner. Come on, what's it like for you?
Okay, I'm going to look right into this camera. I can't say anything about this movie. I promised Marvel and Disney.
Okay.
I got a call. I got the call, and so here I am, saying nothing. I will say nothing.
Hey, we tried.
He tried. I cannot say anything. I'm sorry. You're like, why did we even have you here now?
Please.
Can I be escorted out? I can't
get
say anything. There's nothing to be said.
Are you excited?
Are you?
I think this is going to... Well, I will put my 2 cents in. I think this is going to be Marvel's first billion-dollar movie since Spider-Man.
From your lips, brother. Yeah. From your lips. Look, that picture that Ryan released, verified from Ryan, you saw how many people really got juiced and excited, despite knowing that it was filming. Seeing it, people went out of their minds. They're definitely still. I mean, that's like 3 weeks ago. Still talking about it. That's a lot of chatter on the convention floor. It's a lot of chatter. So I think there's proof there that, like, people are really excited about it.
So I mean, no details about. I don't know if you can even talk about this, but we don't have to talk about the film itself. But as a creator, as somebody who is the blood of Deadpool. When you see that moment, like when whether you're there to witness it or you're seeing it online or however you see that image for the first time, you see those costumes, you know what this means to you yourself, to Hugh and to Ryan as well. What is that part of the experience like for you?
Well, so Brandon, again, throwing it all the way back, I am 8 years old when I pulled Giant Size X-Men #1 off the spinner rack at the liquor store, and finally the X-Men were interesting to me, because they were not interesting to me in their earliest incarnations. So the Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler. So Hulk 181, I had those as well, and Wolverine just looks so good with Colossus and Storm, and now, wow, he's an X-Men. So I have had a like an original love of those characters, and it's been brutal not seeing them on screen for the longest time. And look, Hugh Jackman, I'm going to tell you something. Hugh was very kind. He got me backstage passes and the best seats for his Greatest Showman tour 4 years ago. And so backstage when I was talking to him, look, I feel like he deserved to hear this, because we get so focused on Downey Jr. And with all due respect to Robert Downey Jr., who's fantastic, you don't get to Robert Downey Jr. without Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman, if Wolverine doesn't stick the landing, if he doesn't work in X-Men 2000, and I remember Fox gave me a preview screening of X-Men 2000 about a month before it was released. They had like about 50, 60 people see it. I drove up to LA and I could not believe, because I'd heard horror stories. It's cheap. I thought, wow, this movie's going to work. They did just enough. They did just enough to satisfy the level 2000 curiosity. The characters worked, the chemistry was there, Xavier, Magneto, but Hugh Jackman, because he's our audience surrogate in that movie, right? He drops in, they discover him, he discovers the X-Men, they tour the school. I'm like, this is a perfect introduction to this world. But if Hugh Jackman, because Wolverine is the most popular character in the world at that time, if he doesn't stick the landing, and I said, Hugh, it's you. We are not in this comic book world unless Marvel and Fox get Wolverine right. And he's like, oh, mate, oh. Thank you, mate. He loved it. He loved it, and he deserves to hear it. We should say it to him all the time. And the fact that I think you can tell people he's returning, but then when you see him alongside Ryan and their set, that chemistry that they've shown us, and that great love. And you know what I love? I love because the meme people are great, right? The memes. Suddenly you've got 2009 Ryan and 2009 and then they go then now.
Yep.
And you're like, it's cool. It's cool that it's like it's coming full circle.
Like the Drake meme where he's like, oh, he's pointing at the other one.
Yes. So it's cool that it's coming full circle. So I've always been all about the X-Men. So this is tremendously exciting to me. And so what I'm trying to tell you is I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a giant fan, so I know how the fans feel.
So let me ask you this, from a comic perspective, like the movies, like in 2000, the X-Men movies, they did kind of very like a lot of movies, whether it was like Dark Knight or X-Men or Blade or anything, a lot of the for Blade it kind of makes sense. But for a lot of costumes in movies back then, it was very simple, like sleek, black, not bright,
Everyone was doing the Matrix.
You know, we're not doing
black
blue
leather,
and yellow Wolverine.
Black leather.
They had to earn that, I think, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, like a movie studio executive might look at that and be like, audiences might not see that.
Right.
And now, you know, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy on screen. We've done so much improved. If you make these characters the right way, audiences will go see them. As a comic creator, do you feel that, like, what is an example in your career of something you felt like, okay, I've earned this, I'm going to take this shot in a book you've worked on?
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go back to Deadpool Batter Blood is not, I think it's working because it doesn't look like a lot of the comics that are coming out right now, Brandon. I'm doing big, giant, splashy images, figures bouncing around. It's not traditional looking. I just go, I've been doing this a long time. I'm not going to do the 4-panel grid. I feel like we're at the same place we were when the Image guys broke out back in the 90s, which was a series of just very safe decisions on the page. And look, this new generation, they aren't, I think, in direct contact with a lot of the same instructors and maybe mentors that we had. And then also, my peer group, we were crazy. We were hyper competitive. We were all digesting anime, manga, and trying to change. I mean, again, I read an interview with Todd again the other day. He's like, they said, draw the eyes smaller. So I drew them bigger. And I'm like, that was the attitude at the time, right? And just today, I saw the actor striking in London. The guy who plays Peter forgive me, his name, the guy who plays Peter in Deadpool 2, he's Peter from X-Force. He's over in London, and he says, because I didn't know they had laws against striking. Like, you are not allowed to strike or they'll arrest you. And he's like, yeah, I read the rules. And you know what? I'm here breaking them, and let's see what they do. Like, he's challenging. And I'm like, that was us. That was us. I actually saw that. I watched that this morning. And I'm like, that's pretty ballsy. I think that's pretty cool. And, and that was us in the comic book world. So for me, look, the bright colored costumes, remember, Hugh makes a joke about that in 2000's X-Men. Like, what'd you expect? The costume would be blue and yellow, right? And audiences roared, roar! Okay, so we've come a long way from the black leather Matrix, to the color stuff. But I think in comics, bigger, bolder is what I'm trying to do. Trying to go back to really the kind of stuff that I loved doing 30 years ago. So that would be my answer.
I love it, man. Rob, it's always great to talk to you, man. Enjoy the rest of your Comic-Con. Thank you so much for coming by to talk with us at comicbook.com.
BD. RL.
Stay tuned to comicbook.com for more from San Diego Comic-Con.